Peg warmers. Action figures that warm the peg. Today, we're going to start a new series where we look at action figures destined to warm those pegs. Action figure peg warmers. We've all seen them, even if you're a little kid, probably in the early 90s, walking into the store, singing those Penguin Commandos from the Batman line. You're like, Mommy, why? Why is those Penguin Commandos always here? Maybe you're a little older, went into a Walmart with your own child, and he or she said, Daddy, why are there so many Lando action figures on the shelf every time we come in here? Why isn't there any Han Solos? Well, little Timmy, that's because that Lando Calrissian you saw was just like that Penguin Commando that your dad saw. It was what they refer to as a peg warmer. Sometimes it's just an action figure, at least most of the time. Sometimes it's a whole action figure line. And that's what we're going to look at today. A whole action figure line that was destined to be on the pegs. Didn't stay on the pegs, of course. Went from the pegs to the clearance bin. Usually a little round barrel sitting somewhere in the store. And then one day they all disappeared and you thought, finally, someone bought all that crap. And then you found out, no, they just ended up over at Toy Liquidators or some secondhand store. Then they would disappear once again. Where they went after that, no one really knows. Probably melted down and made into another action figure that you did buy. But today we're going to look at the action figure line based on the 1991 cartoon series Peter Pan and the Pirates. You remember that cartoon? Well, good. No one else does either. Now, this was a cartoon. I'm sure they were trying to catch an early wave of the Peter Pan craze because that December, Peter Pan was on the big screen, played by Robin Williams, with the movie Hook. That's a bad action figure line right there also. I don't mean bad like cool bad. I mean bad like God is awful. So this 1991 cartoon series lasted only one season. About 63 episodes. You hear that, TV executives? 60 episodes. 60 plus episodes for one season. What do we do now? A new season, we get 8 episodes? But this cartoon was already canceled and almost off the air by the time the Hook movie came out. So it really didn't do them any good, did it? And you may ask yourself, well, what's so bad about this? It's Peter Pan. It's a much-loved character. It's been around for centuries. Everybody loves Peter Pan. The Hook movie would go on to gross millions of dollars. I think, without even looking it up, just out of the top of my head, I think the Hook movie made over $5 million. That's a lot of money. $5 million. And I'm saying it made $5 million. Over $5 million. Could have made 10. Could have made 20. Could have made 50 million for all I know. I don't really care. When the movie saw it, I thought it was god awful crap. But we're not here to talk about that crap. We're talking about this other crap. I didn't look on YouTube yet to see if I could see a scene from it. So if I can, I'm going to insert it right here. Peter Pan, peanut butter. Peter Pan, peanut butter. Peter Pan flies around with Wendy. Tinkles, tinkle bells, tinkle. Pink bear, pink bear, pink bear. Peter Pan, peanut butter. Peter Pan, peanut butter. Now sit tight for a new episode of Peter Pan and the Pirates. Oh, that looked awful. Now, the toy company that made the toy line was called THQ. I know, Mattel, Hasbro, even Playmates didn't want this. You know it's bad when Playmates don't want it. This toy company, THQ, they also made the hit toy line based on Vanilla Ice. Word to your mother. Before we get into the action figure, let me say this. They made other things related to this cartoon. Yep, there was a Nintendo game. Nintendo game. Come on, Nintendo. Don't you have any standards? It was a Nintendo game. It was one of those crappy Tiger handheld electronic games. Whew. And then a year later, the show was released on VHS tape. I bet you find that at Goodwill today in the 99-cent section. 99 cents is a little too much for this. Now you ask yourself, why is this? Why didn't it sell? Why didn't it sell? It's Peter Pan because it's god awful. First, let's look at the art card. Holy crap. This is the worst package design I've ever seen in my whole life. Look at this thing. Does it scream, buy me, take me home tonight? No, it's not Phil Collins. Oh, this is awful. The picture from the show, whatever it is, Peter Pan, the little logo, it's really small on the package. Blow that shit up. Makes no sense whatsoever. Most of the package is one solid color, the background color. Who came up with this design? It's not the package designers was running out of time. It was Friday. They wanted to get home. It was 4 o'clock. They were like, hey, we're running late. We got traffic to deal with. Here, just throw this shit out there. It's awful. It is by far the worst package design I've ever seen for an action figure line. And I've seen some pretty bad ones in my life. Pretty bad ones. But just saying, Junkman, the figures don't look that bad. Sure, Kid's one of them. Well, they didn't warm them. They were peg warmers. And then, like I said, after peg warmer comes barrel warmers, discount store warmers, melted down, recycled warmers. Let's get this over with. Let's look at the action figures themselves. Here goes. We have Alf Mason. I know it says Alf. Doesn't look like the Alf I know. And this figure here, you push a button and his pants falls off. And the button, instead of hidden on the back of the figure where most buttons are, it's right there in the front. Doesn't make any sense. Hide that button. Put it in the back. It's almost like this toy company just said, hey, let's make a peg warmer toy line. You do have Captain Hook. I would say the best looking action figure of this line, but it's horrible looking. Does come with a sword. Boys love to play with swords with their action figures. But again, horrible card, and look at his face. Looks like somebody shoved that sword up his ass. And that hair. Nobody wants to play with an action figure that looks like a politician from the 1700s. Then you had Mermaid. Okay, that's some nice tits on the Mermaid. I'll give you that. But you can tell they're just trying to copy the style of that Little Mermaid cartoon that came out a few years before. And of course it comes with a brush. If it's a girl, it's got to come with a brush. Then you have Peter Pan himself. Oh, look how skinny his legs is. Wow, look how skinny those legs are. And that's a major thigh gap if I've ever seen one. It's nothing special here. I can't even find nothing to make fun of it. It's just so stupid looking. And I don't know why he's always looking to the left. So if you're playing with this figure, always put the other figure to the left of the figure. And then we have Robert Mullins. No kid wants to play with an action figure called Robert Mullins. That sounds more like the name of the buddy your dad says he's going drinking with, but then he comes home with a brand new tube of Preparation H. Anyway, he has a button on the front of him also, because his hat flips off. Woo, that's exciting. And then you have, I guess, Smee. He's the ornery old man from the line, I guess. He wears glasses on top of his nose, and his head wobbles. Woo, that's fun. Comes with a sword also, but this isn't like the type of person that should have a sword. If you see an old man that looks this grumpy, take the sword from him, please. And of course, being as a Peter Pan line, you gotta have Tinkerbell. That's a big Tinkerbell, but there she is with a stupid looking witch hat. Of course, it's female, so it comes with a comb. Well, at least this one's looking to the right, so I guess you can have her and Peter Pan looking at each other, although they're about the same size, and I thought Tinkerbell was supposed to be really small. And then you have the god-awful Wendy, probably the worst figure in the line. Look at this. Looks like her mom went to Walmart and bought fabric to make her own clothes. Oh, don't you hate kids that have to wear homemade clothes? And of course it comes with a comb. Of course it does. Now she's not looking to the left or the right. She's got some big bug eyes. And wait a minute, look at that hair. I've seen that hairdo somewhere before.
You go, girl. That's my slave queen.
Taylor is one of the worst action. As you can see from those pictures, it's a horrible line. You can kind of understand why it was peg warmers. You're like, I understand that one, because sometimes you don't really understand. You scratch your head, you say, why is that a peg warmer? That's a nice looking figure. But no, this whole line is a peg warmer. Now, one problem I see with this, just off the top of the bat, they didn't know who to sell this to. Because the girl figures of the line come with combs, and they look like they're made for girls. But the boy toys have pants to fall down, hats that come off, and it looks like they're aiming for a boy line. But it's not two different lines. If you were trying to collect the whole action figure line, you gotta buy a girl one that came with a comb. Yeah, what boy wants to comb the hair of a fake little mermaid? Okay. That kid you knew in school would do it, but most people wouldn't. But you can see this is a horrible, horrible toy line. That's why I had to pick it for the first episode of Peg Warmers. Let me know in the comments below. Did you have these? I guarantee you didn't. You may not even remember them. You probably wiped it out of your head. You probably go see a psychiatrist. They weigh something and hypnotize you. And you're like, oh my God, I remember seeing that. It was all over Toys R Us for about 6 months. It's horrible. Anyway, let me know below if you had this, or maybe tell me about some other peg warmer. We can talk about it in the next series of videos about peg warmers. It can be an action figure or just a toy line. Who knows? I know one thing. It's a peg warmer. ABC.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.